Hello, welcome to Looking Through the Glass. Today we have Giselle, as every day. She's always with me. And then we have Ecosta with Unapologetically Maren. Of course, she was a guest on or I was a guest on her podcast. She is a guest on our podcast to tell us her story. Maren, I'm just going to go ahead and let you kick off with
Just
it.
let me roll then. Well, I'm
Yeah,
Maren
let's roll.
Ecosta, and I am with the Unapologetically Maren, the Cornbread Chronicles podcast. And I have had the pleasure of, like Sela said, Sela said, sorry. Me and her were on my podcast together, and we had an amazing connection. And I'm so glad to tell my story to you guys. Um, I've kind of suffered with different types of mental health problems my entire life. I had a great childhood. Like, with all the things that I've been through, you would think my childhood itself was traumatic, and it wasn't. I had great
Mhm.
parents. I mean, my parents are still married now. They've been married for almost 50 years.
Wow.
Never see them argue, never see them fight. Like, the most loving, amazing parents. Nurtured, like, my brother and sister were all really close. I mean, just an amazing childhood. So it's so funny how as we got into our teenage years, the differences of experiences that myself and my brothers and sisters had were just so varied. Um, by the time I was 13, that's when I got diagnosed officially with having severe manic depressions, what they called it at the time, bipolar. Um, I hadn't been diagnosed with anything else yet at the time except depression and anxiety. But it was just my I always say my 13th year was like not like the worst year of my life, but like when things really just started to change within myself. I was a happy child. I had friends. I was always self conscious because I was overweight. And my sister's
Same
not,
here.
my brother's not. I mean, none of my friends were. It's like
Hmm.
I'm the famous fat friend, so I have to be funny, right? Like if all your friends are the
I gotta
cheerleaders.
make up for my being fat.
Yes, I feel like I had
Yes.
to make up for it. I had to be the funny girl.
Yeah.
So I was constantly the funny girl. And then as we got into our teenage years, then I was every guy's best friend because all of my friends were the pretty girls. So I was really
Hmm.
used a lot for my friendship for my friends. And at the time, I knew it. I saw it. I wasn't blind or stupid, but it didn't matter. It was like I would
Hmm.
rather be popular and for who I'm not than loved for who I was because I didn't love myself. And
Yeah.
I kind of just got a little unhinged. And when I was 13, that's when I kind of started. This was before social media and online, but we would. So weird. I don't even know if they do this
I'm
anymore. But back
guessing
in the
you and I
day,
are similar in age. I'm not a guy. I'm just estimating. I'm guessing you and I are probably similar in age. So
I'll say my age. I'm 45.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm 46.
There we go. See, we're very.
Yeah. Yeah. We do have a lot.
Yes, we do. But I started getting okay. So back in that day, during that time, in the phone book, if you were a teenager, it said children's line in the phone book. So it would say like Belinda Menard and then like children's line if it was by phone line. And so we would go through the phone book and find like local numbers that said children's line and just like randomly prank call these people. But it was kind of like
I did.
catfishing
I
these
did the
days
same
is
thing.
because we would just literally, if it was a boy that answered the phone, we would like just start talking to them and they would talk back and we would just lies like all about who we were, like our names were different and how we looked was different. So we were, I don't know, it was like but I felt
It
like
was
I
catfishing
needed this
before we could
attention.
catfish.
Yes. I was like, I'm catfishing people before catfishing was a thing. Luckily, it
Yeah,
only happened during my
my
teenage
friends
years.
and I did the same thing. My friends and I did the
Yeah.
same thing.
But for me, it made me feel like wanted because like they thought, oh, she has a pretty voice. She sounds pretty, and she's saying she's like the cheerleader. And so I would always say, real like if they wanted to look it up, they could find out it's real. They're not going to see any pictures, it's not on social media. But my friend's a cheerleader, and I used her name. So I mean,
Hmm.
we would be silly just so we could like feel something because I just felt like so empty. Um, Lost my virginity at 13. everything started happening at 13. Started drinking at 13. Um, and it spiraled quickly. Like, I can't even now at 45 thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know what that little trigger point moment was, but I spiraled fast. And the next thing I know, I have my first attempt at suicide. And it kind of came from nowhere because, I mean, everyone
And that
always
was
thought I was so
at
happy and
14?
at 13.
At 13. Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
everyone thought I was
So
so
it was
happy
that
because
fast.
that fast and like nothing
Wow.
triggered it. Nothing. There wasn't like, an abuse situation at the time or a trauma situation. Like there was not like an official trigger point. I just needed to feel something besides a disgust for my own self. And teenage boys are going to make you feel beautiful so they can get in your pants. I mean, it is what it is. And
That's how I lost my
I,
virginity.
yeah, I fed into all of that because I needed to
Mhm.
feel what I thought I needed to feel what pretty. And then to feel pretty, you had to feel wanted. And I knew I was getting used. I knew, none of this was real. They didn't really like you. They're not even probably going to talk to you again, but it didn't matter. At the time, it felt like you filled this void that I needed, and let's go on to the next. But like I said, I had an attempt at suicide. And looking back on it now, it was obviously really just a cry for help because I just took a bunch of pills. And in the moment I started to feel that something was happening to my body, I was getting sick, things were happening. I got scared and I didn't want to die. This was just a cry for help. I went to my mom and I told her what I did. And she gave me some Epicat, which I only time I've ever had it in my life, but it makes you vomit. So I'm vomiting up all of this medication. And so I'm having to let them know, I'm depressed because she's like, where is this coming from? My mom's freaking out. My dad's freaking out. And I'm like, I don't know, but I don't want to be here anymore. And the next thing I know, I am spending the next few weeks in an inpatient facility. It was called Charter. It was in Kingswood, Texas. And it was for teenagers that, for me, I was on suicide watch. So I
Mhm.
get there, and man, if I didn't know how to commit suicide, they're telling me. Because, I mean, they're like, everything they took from me were things I never would have thought about. Like, I couldn't wear tennis shoes. I'm like, why can't I wear tennis shoes? Well, because you might take the laces and try to, hang yourself. Okay, never
Mhm.
would have thought of that. I had a little picture frame with me of a friend of mine who had passed away, and they wouldn't let me have it because of the glass in the picture frame. I could slit my
You make
wrist. Like,
self
we would
harm.
take everything from you, and you're just
Mhm.
stripped of everything. And I thought I had problems until I was there. And everyone was batshit crazy, okay? I was there. I was the most normal person in the entire inpatient facility. And it really was a humbling experience because I realized, my problems aren't as bad as I'm making them out to be. I just can't control my emotions. And like I said, I haven't been diagnosed with anything yet besides depression, anxiety, but I'm not on medication for it. And still to this day, I still question my parents, like why. They just, my parents are definitely pro therapy, pro medication, but at the time, it was the early 90s and it was different, and they
It-
didn't want to put that label on me. And
yeah.
so it hindered. If I would have been on medication as of 13 years old, who knows what would have been different. But it wasn't,
Yeah.
so I was there and I was scared because, I mean, these were girls with like schizophrenia and like major psychosis issues that are having like this one girl, and she was a young black girl, and she really had some major schizophrenia, and she had several personalities, and it kind of freaked me out, but I was the only person that could calm her down. So when she would kind of break, I would have to calm her down and like ground her. And I had to learn how to fix her hair because I didn't know how to, do any of that. I had never, fixed anyone with ethnic hair before. But I
Mhm.
had to because I was the only one she would let fix her hair, that she would, let bring her down. And so it was kind of also in that moment that I realized, I'm meant to help people through my own struggles. And So I kind of turned
Mm.
that into my
At the age
experience
of
there.
13, you had this
At
kind of,
13,
wow,
it was
wow.
it was nuts. We literally in one of our group therapy sessions, because she didn't know that she had when she would break into other personalities. She didn't believe anybody.
Yeah.
So we
Well, of
actually
course,
did a
she's not
session,
going
and
to.
yeah, in group therapy we did a session where we recorded her because she had broke out in the middle of group therapy and to one of her other personalities, and she was going crazy, and they videotaped her, and then in her private session they showed her the tape, and
Yeah.
honestly I don't know if it did her better, if it did her good or it made it worse, because she flipped out. She was so upset. I mean, she had no idea that it was real. She thought everyone was just it was all in their heads or something wrong. But seeing
I can
her,
kind of relate.
right, but seeing her realize that was something big for me too. But like I said, I was only there for a couple of weeks, and I came out and still didn't get put on medication, even though of course they're giving her like she's got this diagnosis now, she's got this diagnosis now. No continuing of medication, no therapy. Still, you went to this inpatient facility, and of course no one knew, not even the school. They thought I was out with mono. They had to give them something that would give me a reason to be out for an extended period of time, and they chose mono. And my friends didn't know, my teachers didn't know, no one knew. So
It
I'm
was
not
very
getting
much
any
a sweep
continued
under
help
the
when I come
rug.
back out. I'm just hiding it again. So
Yeah,
that's kind
sweep
of
it under the
when,
rug.
yeah, I kind of started drinking a little bit more, started smoking cigarettes. My parents didn't smoke. My parents didn't drink. My parents didn't do drugs. Like, they have never had a history of shit. They're amazing, loving parents. And
Hmm.
it was just seeing me go through this was like the whole nature versus nurture thing. Like, my brother and sister didn't go down that path in their teenage years. Now, granted, they've had some experiences outside in their adult years, but at the time, they were like the perfect children. My sister graduated a year early, went straight to get her bachelor's degree. She graduated the top two in her class. Like, she was a cheerleader. She was everything, everything I wanted to be. So I kept harboring resentment for my own siblings. My brother and I are only 13 months apart. We shared the same friends at school. He's popular. He got voted like class clown and most favorite and all this. And I'm I just always had this not a resentment, because I love my brother and sister, but why did I have to get all of these things and they didn't? They didn't have mental health issues at the time, no depression, no anxiety. Like, everyone's just looking at me like it's got to be in your head. Like, this, some of this stuff is genetic, right? And if we don't have it and your parents don't have it, I mean, no, it's not exactly, it's not always
Yeah.
just about genetics, or maybe my parents are a little undiagnosed. I mean, you never know.
Hmm.
But it just kind of led down a road. My entire high school year was always me trying to fit in, me drinking to feel better for myself and to be more popular, getting so drunk that I would pass out under vehicles. Like, because we live in the country. I live on 60-acre farm growing up. Like, we have country. We're out in the woods having pasture parties, or we're at the oil field roads, having back roads parties. Like, we weren't city people.
Hmm.
There was no
There's
clubs to
bonfire
go to
parties.
or bars.
Yeah,
uh,
in Nevada we had it. We were out in dry lake beds
oh
and
yeah,
in brush to do having bonfires.
yes. Stop. See, that too. That was the fun shit. We had so much fun, but it was just a constant fight with myself all the time. Why am I different? There's something else wrong. And then it's always like never able to be truly honest about all kinds of things about myself, because I didn't want people to judge me, because I always needed that. I need to be accepted. Um, I also knew at the time I'm also struggling with feeling things of, I knew I had some sensitive things going on. I've always felt people and felt energies, and that's something we did openly talk about in our family, because My
You
grandmother, I
did.
know I look like a little white girl, but my grandmother is a first generation American. My grandmother was 100% Hispanic. And she married an Irishman, so I got his blood, and my sister got the Hispanic blood. We look nothing alike. But I always, my grandma was very sensitive. I mean, she could read people. She saw things. I mean, we're very into the paranormal and that in my side of my family, but they kind of would just keep it within the family. It wasn't something that they wanted talked about outside of the family. There wasn't something that they knew they had. They accepted it, but they didn't. My parents were really mainstream, and they didn't want to like be judged or like
My
looked at
parents,
for something.
mine didn't talk about theirs either.
Yeah.
They
They
wouldn't.
talked about it with
Yeah, it
us,
wasn't talked
but
about,
yeah, it's on the public
or
thing.
they
Now,
didn't
it
even
became a
talk
little
about
different
it
with
with
my
me.
aunts, though. My aunts became very open and very into
Mm.
like the paranormal, and that's how I kind of got into it later on in life. But I always knew I was a little bit different. I always felt people, felt energies. I could definitely read a room. Uh, I would hear things sometimes. Like when you were talking the other day, you were said something about Indians, and it kind of just stuck for a second. Because when I was a little girl, always outside of my door, I could hear Indians, and I could hear like I can like having like I could hear all the music and the chanting and all these things, and I thought I was crazy for a long time until I found out that we have some Indian burial ground on the back side of where the property was, or
I thought
so
I was
we've
going
heard.
crazy up by
Yeah,
Travis Lake until I did some background on Travis Lake. I thought I was going nuts because I was like, what I'm seeing is not pretty, like, okay. I thought, because I had been hit in the head. So I was like, maybe I'm experiencing something, but no,
right.
no,
No.
no, absolutely. It was some pretty, like what they experienced. They seen White Girl and it
Uh-huh.
was at the very beginning, but then that changed.
Right, right. But so, like I said, I knew I was different. I knew I was sensitive. But at the time, like I said, I really didn't get into it because my parents hadn't at that time really talked about it that much. But it always made me feel different because I felt, and I kept trying to trust my feelings. So that I would read people and, my feelings would say, this is not a good energy. This is not a good person. But then I'm also fighting my need to feel accepted. And does that really matter? If they're a bad person, if they're popular. Like my
Yeah,
teenagers were just rough. Went through before my addiction started with drugs or alcohol. It started with sex. When I lost my virginity at 13, it was like I became addicted to sex. But
yeah,
it wasn't because I enjoyed that. It was just that moment of feeling like
because
I was needed and wanted, and then the next
yeah.
one, okay, and then the next one, and
Yeah,
so
no, we fully understand. We fully
yeah.
understand.
Then you start developing this
Because-
reputation, and you're like, wait a second, but I'm not like that. That Susie Q over there, she's the hoe. That's not me. I'm a nice, good girl, but you're doing the thing Susie Q's doing, so you got to take her label too. If she's gonna have it. But it just started making me feel really bad about myself, but I couldn't stop. Then it was
Stop it.
addicted to
Mhm.
food. I mean, my addictions kept changing. I had ended up by the time I was in my early 20s, I had gained so much weight. My heaviest weight, I got up to 475 pounds. And then,
Wow.
of course, I'm extremely miserable by that point, physically, even and horribly. And now you're
Yeah.
really self conscious and you're really like, how did I get here? But I was eating my
Yeah.
feelings because I didn't want to be addicted to drugs or alcohol. I wasn't raised that way. Even though I'm drinking, I don't realize I'm having an alcohol problem yet. Developing. Now, teenagers drink. You're not looking at it like that yet. But
Hmm.
it just kind of had a lot of bad experiences too with guys growing up. Getting it because they knew what they were doing. And I would get treated like crap. One time, this went with a complete stranger. When I lost my virginity, it was a complete stranger that I met from a friend on the phone. Snuck me out of
Hmm.
my house at 13. Should have had the biggest warning sign when it was his father driving the vehicle to pick me up, and I'm 30 minutes away from him. We're not in the same city. Got his dad
Yeah.
to drive him 30 minutes to sneak a 13-year-old girl out, he's 17, to bring back to his
Hmm.
house. And then I'm like begging to go back home because I'm like, I gotta get home before my parents wake up. And he's already got what he wanted. He don't give a shit about if I get home on time now. He's going to bed. I have to literally beg this dude's father to take me home. Please take me home. He's asleep. Please take me home. I'm scared out of my mind. Like how freaking dangerous that was. Looking at it now and what goes on now, it's like, man,
That
Maren, how
li-
I lived
that
for danger
literally
and I didn't
that
realize
I
it.
lost. Yeah, yeah. Yep. I was 13. I lost my virginity to an 18-year-old, met him through another friend,
Same.
and he snuck in with his other 18-year-old or 19-year-old friend, and I lost my virginity right there. Hmm.
Yeah, kind of the same exact situation because he had a friend there too. And when he left after we had had sex, I'm just sitting there going, "Oh my God, I just want to go," because I had also lied and said I
Hmm.
wasn't a virgin, and I bled
Yeah,
everywhere.
me too. I did. I lied too.
And
I
so
lied
then
too.
when he left, and he left his friend in there, and his friend's like, basically like, "Are we gonna hook up now?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I was not here for this. This guy was not attractive to me." And to me, it wasn't just about feeling wanted. It had to be feeling wanted by people that were attractive. Because if they were not attractive, I wasn't even going to give in. I just needed to feel wanted by people that I would have
That were
wanted
wanted.
to want me.
You
Yes.
wanted
So,
people that were wanted.
yes. So I didn't want the friend,
Yep.
but ended up having sex with the friend too because I didn't know how to say no. And I was scared out of my damn mind by this point.
Scared too. Yes, I
Yeah.
understand. If I put myself in situations growing up like that too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on multiple occasions.
I have
And it,
to.
and it's
Yeah,
just, it's
just how I
crazy.
too.
And it was just, I know it
Yeah,
was different then. Looking at it now, if I had a daughter that was 13 doing the things that I did, things would be just so different now. I mean, you didn't think
I
about
would
things like
tie my
sex
13-year-old
trafficking and
to my
like,
wrist, and the only time that 13-year-old would get away from me is homeschooling for sure. The only time that 13-year-old would be getting away from me is during shower and going to the bathroom. That is it. Like, you want to talk about watch? That's what my mom did to me.
oh
I went to work
God,
with her,
my
went to
mom
work
called
with
it
her and everything. When she found out about it, oh yeah, no,
when we got in trouble really bad like that, we had to literally sleep on my mom's floor. We had to sleep on
that
my
my
mom's
mom
floor
didn't
so
go
that
that
she knew
far,
we weren't
but
going anywhere.
yeah, you know what? All the way.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God.
I'm surprised she didn't come up with that for me.
I'm shocked I didn't too. I'm sitting here feeling a little disappointed in myself,
Yeah, why
going,
did I make us all sleep on the floor?
hmm, your little
I
ass
But,
wants to run away. I'm gonna make you out sleep on my floor.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's
I
one
should have
thing I
thought
never
about
did
that
was
years
run
ago.
away.
You know how many times
We should have been friends years ago. Cause damn,
you know how
we
many
had a
times I've
sibling
told
that
you,
had a
Laura?
runaway problem.
We would have got control of you, girl.
No, it wasn't her. It wasn't her that had the runaway problem.
I bet she
I
was just
said I was
sleeping.
gonna do it, but I never actually did it.
She never did
See,
it
I
because I
never
told
did
her, I
either.
was like, you
I never
better
ran
hope
away.
and pray the police find you before I do. I just told her
I
what my
live in
mom
the
told me.
country so far. Where am I going to run? Nowadays, I would have had to have met someone like online and say, come get me. Because I live literally, which is where I live now. We just moved back home to my parents' property. We have a house out here now, but so I came back home. But we're literally like
Totally
30
different.
minutes from
Totally
getting to a
different. I'm
market
new to the
basket.
compound too.
Yeah. I'm like, that's what we call it, our family compound.
Yeah,
Like it's cooking tonight at the
we
family
want to do
compound.
one too.
Because I mean, they have 60 acres. So, now that their children are adults and having families and stuff, here's your piece of the land. And my brother's going to be moving out here soon with his family. And my nephew already
That's the
lives
way to
out
do
here.
it,
My
man.
sister and her daughter live out here. I'm like, just share
That's
the
the way
wealth.
to do it. If you have that kind of family, that's the way to do
Yeah.
it. And if you don't have that kind of family, and you have that kind of friends, that's the way to do it
Yeah.
nowadays.
We
Like,
literally like
but-
just running to mom's house real quick. I could get some toilet paper. We're out and I ain't running to town. Or hey mom, are
yeah,
you cooking tonight or are we cooking? And who's you want to come get some or bring
if
something
you're
over to
all
you.
broke and you only have
Uh-huh.
so much in the refrigerator, you can all
Yes.
come together and go, I got this, I got that, I got this, and I got that. All
Uh-huh.
right, we can make us a nice big old
Exactly.
family
That's about
meal.
how it is this week right now. We nothing in our icebox. I went to look for breakfast earlier and there was one egg in there and like some milk. And that was it.
I, I'm
I was
fortunate
like, it's
enough.
time for
I
groceries.
have, I have like 30 chickens, so I get eggs. I've always got eggs.
My parents have chickens and we get eggs from them a lot too, but right now I just have one
Yeah.
apparently. One leg. So I didn't even eat it. But yeah, living here has been great. Living here is great, but it wasn't great as a teenager because there's just,
Yeah.
and I became so anti country. Like people ask all the time now that we have our home here and it's beautiful. Like it's the land is just open, beautiful, amazing. They're like, why have you struggled and lived in apartments and rent houses and bouncing back and forth when you always had that land? I didn't ever want to live here. I did my best to get the fuck out of here. When I was 18, I don't want to be in the
Mm-hmm.
country. I was not country. By the time I was a senior, I was dressed in goth. I mean, I had my dad, oh my
You
gosh, my
wanted
dad's a
nothing to do
major
with
farm guy,
anything that
cowboy,
has.
major country guy. And
Mm-hmm.
I bought this dog collar and this like really perverted looking shirt. And the next thing I know, they're in the trash. And I'm like, I bought that from Hot Topic with my own money. He was like, you are not
Uh-huh.
wearing a damn dog collar in my house. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But I mean, I just kept going through all these phases. I never knew who I was. I was either really preppy, really slutty
So that
looking, then I
explains
was
the
goth, then
unapologetically
emo.
married.
Yes, I'm tired of being someone I'm not. Because it even in my
Yeah.
adult years, I have been until now 25
Mm-hmm.
years in human resources in healthcare. Very
Mm-hmm.
professional job and I took it very seriously. That's why it became my profession. But you got to dress professional. I was not, that wasn't me, but you have to for work, especially in the type of position I was in. So then all the money that you use to buy clothes are work clothes, and I had nothing else. So I'm always in the same type of clothes I wear at work. And I lost my personality because my personality is came out in my makeup and in my clothes and my wild jewelry and whatever I wanted to wear. We went to raves back then, and I couldn't do all of that and
Mm-hmm.
be a professional. I had pink hair. I can't do that and be in human resources. Like every time I wanted to do something crazy, I had to think about my job and what other people would
Isn't it
say.
great being in podcasting now and being able to
Yes, I
frickin'
can do
do
what I
what?
want to
Like
do.
I show up with a frickin' blank up and pajama pants if
Oh yeah.
and Shrek's frickin' slippers underneath the desk. Okay,
Hey,
like when
I'll
I'm
be
having a
honest.
rough
One day I
day,
had
when
on
I'm having
full face makeup and a beautiful top. No one would know. I was sitting in my underwear because I couldn't find my pants in time. I couldn't
I was
find my
gonna say
pants. And it was only my okay, it was no, I'll just go ahead
the
and admit
freedom
it. It was my first one and it was with Pete. Sorry, Pete. Now you know my secret. And I was so excited to do to have him on my podcast. And it's my first one. And I don't want to be late. I don't want to look unprofessional. Like I was introduced to
yeah,
Pete. Like he's the first person I met in the podcasting world. And
yeah.
I'm like, hey, can you tell? And I'm looking, I'm pulling my shirt down real low to make sure. And I'm like, no one can tell, Maren. No one can tell. Yep, I was in my underwear. I mean, just put it out there. Whatever.
Oh man. Oh man, I can't wait until he hears this.
Now, maybe when Pete hears this, sorry,
Which he's
Pete, do
gonna
not get
he's
any
gonna
pictures in your
listen to
head. It's
this.
not
So
pretty.
yeah,
But
that's
if
well,
you can feel yourself. But I was so tired of always having to, and I have a loud mouth. Like I put on my profile on TikTok, I am a foul mouth, smart ass. And I never could be that. Now at home I am, and my friends I am, but when you're
in
working,
human
like a 12
resources
hour
you cannot
day,
be.
you cannot. Heck no, you got to be
No, you
super
have to be on your
professional.
best behavior. The smart ass can't really come out unless you really, really,
Exactly.
really click.
And then when you
But
are
even then it's only
the
at certain times.
when you're in healthcare, which is a 24-hour business, it doesn't stop because it's 24 hours. So I can get a call at midnight And because there's something going on at work, like maybe two of the nurses are in a fight because that actually happened, and or whatever.
Oh
I
man,
have to
you
be
were
able to wake
healthcare
up, be on
HR?
call, and carry myself. And then when I
You were
started
at healthcare HR?
healthcare, long term care, actually.
Oh my Lord, have mercy. That's almost no, never mind. I'm gonna be nice.
Yeah, all my friends are nurses or CNAs or nurse doctors, like medical fields. All I've done my entire life has been long term care. My very first big
Hmm.
girl job was as a secretary in long term care. My mom was the assistant administrator at that nursing facility, and then I eventually got promoted to business office manager, HR. I was there for like almost 15 years, and then went to another facility for 5 years, another facility for 5 years, and then the last one I was at only a year, but that's where I retired medically from. But the last one was off the charts because by that time I was having a lot of medical issues, and
Yeah.
that's when the drinking started. And looking back now, it's like, how in the hell did they not realize that I was drinking? Because they're
You're not the
calling,
only
like I said.
one that has told their story and asked that very question because
I mean,
like
I'm
we
on the
know people.
phone with corporate, talking really big things, and I'm drunk off my ass. But I was so high functioning that,
Hmm.
and I
You're
would
not the
and
only
even
one that's
now,
tell our story like that.
yeah, but sometimes people are like, "Well, you just thought you were high functioning," and they always knew, but they didn't. Because when I decided to do the TikTok thing, I didn't put it out on Facebook at first because I had never done TikTok until last year. So Facebook has my real people on it, my
Same.
family, my friends, my coworkers for the past 25 years. TikTok, I didn't know anybody yet. So I wasn't adding my friends and stuff like that. So I didn't mind telling my story, but then it got to be where, why am I only telling my story to strangers? If you're going to be completely unapologetically Maren, you tell your story to the world. And I finally had to tell myself, unfortunately, due to the medical issues I was having, I'm not going to be back in that profession anymore. I'm not going back into HR ever. So
Hmm.
why am I having to still pretend to be that person? And I finally just came out. And then I started the very first time I was on a live, because I started out doing TikTok lives and talking about everything that we're doing right now. That's what I did in my room. I wasn't like a grow room. We were literally talk about, you know, our past and stuff. And one time, the first time a coworker popped into my live and I saw it pop up on my screen, I was in the middle of telling a story. And I was like, well,
Here we
hello,
go.
Amber. Y'all, just letting y'all know this is someone from my real world life who has no idea what we're talking about right now, but you'll be the first to know, Amber. I am a recovering alcoholic. And I started just going off and off. And she was like, holy shit. She was like, we had no clue. She's like, you were always professional. You were always, I was like, and that's sad that I had to really just always be on point enough. I can't even walk and talk, but I still have to figure out how to be on point when that phone goes off. And I did,
Yeah.
but that just still made it worse. It made it worse because I just always was just having to be this person. I'm already struggling with who I am. I already don't like myself. I don't even know myself anymore. And I'm telling my husband, I'm like, you're married to this person. And how do I know that now that I am not working? And, how do I know that you're really going to like me? But he knows me. He's seen some ugly shit. And how he's still here? Oh my God. I ask myself that all the time. We've only been together for 6 years, but it feels like 60. And he is the best person in my life. He brings out the best in myself. And he's the one who helped get me into rehab with my mom. He's the one who, um, when I was in rehab, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but when I was in
No, you're
rehab,
good.
every single day, we couldn't have visitors or phone calls at the rehab I was
Yeah.
in, but every day he would go to the office and bring me a handwritten letter and then some type of somethings. Either it was like a little teddy bear or my favorite snacks, because we couldn't have outside food unless it was brought to us from, a family member outside. So he would bring me like Doritos and cheese dip, like my favorite stuff, but he would bring them for the entire facility. And because he didn't want them to feel
Oh,
left out. And so the girls there just fell in love with my husband. They were like, "You have the most amazing husband." And every day they're like, "Read your letter." Because I read my letters to them. And I would read my letter and then I would share my little stuff. And he was there to pick me up the day I got out after 30 days. He was also has been there to pick me up off the floor drunk when I relapsed. He's been there, me throwing up in the bed. He's been there through so much stuff. And my husband used to drink. He drank when we got together, and he stopped drinking the year after we got married. So he hasn't drank in 5 years at all. Not a lick, not a nothing. And he went from being an alcoholic himself
but he
to,
understood.
yeah, so he understands. And he's never
That's
relapsed, though. He never needed rehab either. I mean, he did it all on his own. And
we're all different though,
we're all
you
different.
know.
And so I
We're
couldn't, I
all
had gotten
different
my,
though.
to the
I didn't
point
go into
where,
a rehab center. I didn't. I was like, nope, you're not doing. Because with me, it was seizures. So like every time I
yeah,
quit, seizures would come. So rehab center was not the best place for me.
no, 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 no. And a lot of them may not have even taken you unless it was a special. So I know at first when I got to
Yeah,
rehab,
that's
they
what
sent
we.
me to the hospital. They were like, "You are not
Yeah,
in the
they.
shape." I was like,
Yeah,
What? They're turning me
it was
away from a
either
rehab?"
they just let you they just let you have it out and you're miserable, which is not nice, or they
Right.
don't accept you. It was one of the two.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, that's not an option for me. And then I'm shocked that you and I didn't come across on TikTok.
I
and
know.
then
I
I understand.
know.
Hey, you know what? The universe aligns everything when it's meant to be. So let's get back to your story because we do have another recording a little bit later on.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. Where you want? Let's see.
so where do you want to take it off from here?
Let's see. Well, by the time I guess in my 20s, that's when I really started getting myself into therapy. And
Hmm.
I saw a hypnotherapist at first, and her name was Kim, and she was wonderful. That's where I got my diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. And
Okay.
that that is the hardest thing for me to manage. And I literally had to make my husband research what, BPD was, because it's such a complicated disorder. My earphone fell out.
And it's
And
an overlapping. It
yes,
overlaps other. Yeah, I'm familiar with researching it because but yeah, it overlaps other disorders too, manic and also other things. Yes.
yes, it's very complicated, and it's so hard to deal with personally because I'm always like, I was telling Pete, like, I would think I hate you, but please don't leave me. I love
Hmm.
you, but I hate you. Like you're just, and I question
Hmm.
everything, and I'm always paranoid that he's gonna leave. I mean, it wasn't just with him; any relationship I've ever been in, I'm always just so scared. And that's why I stayed in my relationship prior to my husband. Um, I had told you I got as big as 475 pounds. And then in
Hmm.
2011, I had gastric bypass surgery and I got down to like teeny tiny. And that was I just turned like, I was in my early 30s and I finally was skinny for the first time in my damn life. And I went out and I was like, I'm just going to live life. Ended up meeting a guy right away, of course. And here's Maren, like, oh my goodness. And we literally moved in together right away.
Attention.
I'm like, I hadn't even lived with a guy in my life. We moved in together right away. I mean, we just dove off into this, like, almost basically a marriage. And I was so happy. I thought it was going to be amazing. And then kind of find out he was a closet drug addict. And then very emotionally and mentally abusive. And
Mhm.
I always thought it was either no big deal or I made excuses for him. I was always just, I needed to be there because it was either be with him or be alone. And I was so damn tired of being alone that I'd rather be treated like shit than be alone.
Mhm.
Um, we were together for years. It was never a good relationship. My parents didn't like him, and my parents loved everybody. So he would never come to
Mhm.
my family's stuff. It wasn't like we would have Christmas and all my aunts and uncles and cousins were like, "Where's Cody?" Not here. I mean,
Aw.
he never did anything with our family. Like he would never, he left me alone everywhere. But he would do stuff with his family, but my family, no. So we
Mhm.
were living together. Now it had been like going on 5 years, and it was horrible. Never worked. Always drinking. And when I mean drinking, this guy, type 1 diabetic, insulin dependent, weighed about 125 pounds, soaking wet, could drink a 24 pack of beer every single day. I don't, that's how obliterated he was every single day. And then he would sleep for 3 days. And then
Mhm.
he'd be back to being stupid again. Um,
Mhm.
his sister was having a baby and he wanted to go to the hospital so that we can meet our little nephew. We were so excited. Then he got drunk. And I'm like, we're not going. You're not going to embarrass me at the hospital in front of your entire family. We're not. And he's like, we're going to see this baby. And he's all like drunk. And I'm like, no, the fuck we are. And then the next thing I know, he's taking the coffee pot. He threw the coffee pot across the room. He had thrown stuff before and he's always verbally abusive, but we had never had a physical altercation ever. So I was just thinking, here he is being stupid. Let him throw his shit. And I'm like walking to the bedroom, throwing my hands up. And I was cussing him out as I walked away because I'm like, I'm just getting out of this situation. I'm going to the bedroom. Well, it pissed him off. And the next thing I know, I'm thrown by a 125-pound man into the bedroom. And the same kind of experience like you had went through. The next thing I know, he had his knees like in my chest. And I looked up at him like scared out of my mind because he had never touched me before and literally
Mhm.
saw his eyes go black and was
Mhm.
like, I've heard about that in the movies or whatever, but like, I've
But
never
when you
seen someone's
experience
eyes.
it,
And then,
it's like nothing else. And the
yeah,
energy that goes with it, the energy
yes.
pressure. And when you're somebody that's sensitive or somebody
Hmm.
that's intuitive, uh definitely feels those energies a whole lot more
Oh,
than
yeah.
most.
And I was
Yeah.
getting really in tune to him because he literally he glanced like this. I would have had no reason to even notice that he did that. But when he glanced, I glanced and I saw him looking at the phone charger in the wall. And I knew automatically he's getting that phone charger and he's about to put it around my neck. You have
Yep.
got to get this guy off of you now. So I literally, I don't know how, but I got out from underneath him and ran to the closet. And I was trying to get my phone and call 911. He took my phone from me, threw it in the toilet. But luckily, we have smartphones by this point, and if you attempt to call 911 and you have emergency contacts in your phone, it automatically calls your emergency contacts to let them know you called 911. And the phone had called my mom and said that Maren has just initiated a call to 911. So mom is freaking the hell out. So she's trying to call. And luckily
Didn't know
we
they had
were
that.
able. Do what?
I didn't know we
You
had
didn't know
that.
that? Yeah, it still's like that.
Yeah.
I got a call one time from my little niece. It said that she'd called 911, freaked me out. I thought, okay, somebody is dying. Like, what's going on? I'm trying to call her and what's going on? And kind of find out she was getting in a fight with her dad and she was being a brat. But she had me
Oh,
scared.
yeah.
but yeah, it does do that on the iPhones. I don't know about the
Ads.
Androids, but iPhones do.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah. I've never had an iPhone, that's why.
say, but he was arrested, and then I had to go through the whole thing of going to court and taking him. So he did go to prison. I opted. They were like, "You want to give him the max we can, right?" And I'm like, "Actually, if I have a say so, no." I said, "I've really thought
Mhm.
about it, and he's a good person at heart. He's just not a good person for me, and he needs help. I said if he can be forced into rehab, because I'd already tried like 3 times by this point to get him into rehab, and he'd leave, and his mom would pick him up. I said if he could be forced into rehab and then have to do, and they were like, well, we can't do that if he doesn't go to jail first. So she said he at least has to have 2 years. Then he can be forced into a rehab and then do sober living and then da da da. So like that's what I want. I don't want him to have like that's what I want. I want him to get the help that he needs and be able to be a better person. And I will say that before I got married, when I was living with my husband already, though, now husband, he called and it triggered me bad. I threw my phone across the room. I'm like, he's like, what's wrong? I said, my ex is calling. And I answered, and when he started talking, I knew why he was calling. He had he had got out of prison, and he was in AA at the rehab, and he was at the point in his steps where he had to make amends for his past. And at the time, I was not ready to hear a damn shitty thing he had to say. So I didn't give him the opportunity to. But that kind of weighed on my heart for a long time. And after I went to rehab, I felt the need to contact him. And that was hard because, like, do you want to bring this person back into your not into your life? No, you're never going to talk to him again but this one time. But now he's going to have your new number. What if he tries to like find you? But I told my husband, I was like, I did stuff wrong too. And I did call him. We did have an hour-long conversation. I never thought I would talk to the man that tried to kill me, but forgave each other and decided, I'm not going to talk
Well,
anymore,
I
obviously.
don't.
But
Well, yeah, but I don't think that there's anything wrong. I think there's actually release in that forgiveness, especially when
there
in an
was
experience like that. Like you're never gonna forget. Like there's no way you can ever forget. But
no,
to forgive, especially when they've gone through, because alcohol is called spirits for a reason.
exactly. See, I've said that before too.
it
But
it opens you up.
it does. It does. But I mean, I could go on forever. Like you, there's so much to my story, but it has
You're
all
always
led
more
me.
than welcome to come back on too.
Yeah.
If we need to do
And
part
I can't
two,
wait
we
to
can.
get Giselle on and y'all on together. Yeah. Our stories are so in depth that, yeah, we would take more than one.
Yeah,
But where I
it
am now,
absolutely.
I was just saying, where I am now though is getting on this. I'm forced now medically. Like I said, I'm from home. So now it's do you. You can do you now. Do you. I've wanted to have a podcast for years, and I was just not too shy, but I was still having some self esteem issues. And plus, I was still drinking and I was still, but now it's just about putting my story out there, putting my voice out there, and helping others and being an advocate for, mental health and recovery and addiction, domestic violence, suicide prevention, all the things, because we've been through all the things.
All
Then
the
we got
things
our little
that, yeah,
paranormal side of it, and
yeah.
so I like all of that too. But
So, how
there's
many
so much
days are
depth
you
to it.
sober?
I well, it's only been now it's like 3.5 months, but that's because I relapsed a second time after I relapsed the first time. But
Relapse is part
three
of the
months is
story,
three
honey. It's
months.
part of it's part of the journey. 3 months is
It's
three
yep,
months, and it needs to be celebrated. So that
yes,
don't beat yourself up too much. Now
yes,
hold yourself accountable, but don't beat yourself up. I watched you
yes,
beat yourself up.
yeah,
I watched you beat yourself up over it just now. Don't beat yourself up. Hold yourself accountable. There's a big difference
yes.
between the two.
And this
But
is therapy for me, and it does help me hold myself accountable.
yes,
My mom's calling me every day. Hey, let's go to an AA meeting together. My mom's never been to an AA meeting. She's like, let's go to an AA meeting. I want to make sure because I haven't been going because I don't drive anymore. But I would go
yeah,
online or I would do stuff on my own. I don't have to. I don't. I love the community of AA and it's a great thing, but I don't have to go every day or every week like a lot of people
yeah, absolutely.
do.
Some people do, some people don't. You are,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
my mom
I
has decided,
only
oh no, you keep going.
I was just gonna say I just used TikTok for a while, and then I just
Yeah.
relied on the couple of people that I've met through there, like Jay.
Yeah.
Jay's one of them. So,
He's awesome.
but
We're
go ahead.
talking
I
about,
apologize.
we're doing each other stuff too.
Yeah. So where where did you were at your 20s and you were in this relationship, and now you had to call the cops on him and all of that. Like, where do you want to take it from there?
He, like I said, he went to jail, and within the 6 months after that was the most healing time of my life.
Mhm.
I lived alone for the first time because I've always had roommates. I've never, if before I was living with him, I had roommates all the time. I couldn't be alone. I'm not an alone person. I was alone for
Yeah.
the first time, and man, I jumped into journaling and self healing and just meditation and all kinds of things and found myself. And then within 6 months, met my now husband. So I met him at one of the highest, best points of my life. And I was like, God, why didn't you let me meet this man a long time ago? But I never could
Hmm.
have because we're not from the same town. And when he was 18, he went off into the military. And when he served 14 years in the Navy. And when he was discharged and came back home, that's when we met. So I never would have been able to meet him prior, but he was put in my life at the best time, or I could really absorb all of the positive energy that he had and just grow with him. And I've never knew what love was besides from a family or friends until him. I've never known what true love really felt like until my
My
husband.
partner.
And
Yeah.
yes, and he is
Yeah.
my true partner, my soulmate. I feel it. I see it. Um,
You're our second love story today.
yeah. I mean,
It's funny,
he is,
right before Valentine's Day too. I love it.
yes,
Yeah.
he is, he is the biggest blessing I could ever have. He encourages me he's the one, when I said I wanted to do this, when it was 2 years ago, when I first started talking about it, I have had all of my podcasting equipment for 2 years, never touched or opened. I get it for me for my birthday, all this stuff. And I was like, why did you spent a lot of money on that stuff? And he was like, because I want you to pursue your passion. 2 years
Yeah.
later, finally, let's pull out all
Hey,
that
you
stuff you bought me that I've never ever opened out of the box. And let's get this
You said
started.
two
And
years later.
2 years later, after he bought it, I didn't even open it. I had it all together in a box. I just couldn't. I wasn't ready then. I wasn't sober then. It wasn't going to be about addiction and recovery. I didn't have this
you
niche
didn't know.
originally. I thought I was going to come on and have a podcast that was a true crime kind of documentary podcast, and I was going to talk to guests that had unsolved cases, and we were going to dive in to unsolved murder cases. And that's my like passion. I like to do that kind of. That's what I watch on TV, and that's what I like
There's a
to
lot of
do.
people that are into that actually. Like
Yeah,
a lot of people.
that's what I
Hey,
thought I was going to do, and then TikTok led me
most
down this
podcasters have
path.
more than one podcast.
Uh-huh. I already told
Uh,
him, it's like, I'm gonna have to, because if we're talking about therapy, everything is therapeutic. Music and, nature. Yeah, well, guess what? So is solving crime. So I'm gonna have Southern Sleuth Saturday. I'm not gonna have any, I'm gonna just do this random thing about true crime stuff on, once a month or whatever. I was like, I have to throw it in there somehow because I really want to do that because it
all
seems
right,
fun.
now do it, dude.
So
Do
Southern
it.
Sleuth Saturdays or Sundays. I forget what today I said, but
Yeah, no,
I'm
you do
going
it,
to do
girl.
that because I want to have fun with that too because I've always wanted to, and now I can.
Yeah,
I'm in a place where I can do what I want to do, but now it's time to be serious about it though, and really try to use this as therapy for myself and to help others, and of course try to monetize on top of that as well because I want this to be my full time
yeah.
career eventually. Be able to support my extra hat, spending monies
Us
on
too.
husband can pay the
Yeah,
bills and
us
I'll have the
too.
fun
And
money.
you'll get there. But just so you were
Yeah.
laughing at 2 years, what was the significance of the 2 years?
Because that's kind of when you and I finally started doing YouTube.
Uh-huh,
And literally 2 years ago, when we were like, we're going to start this and we'll like slowly build up into a podcast. Because we're
uh-huh.
like, we hate being on camera. Even though we still are on camera, we hated
Yeah.
being the whole on
We hated
camera.
being on camera because
So,
our insecurities and our
Yeah.
stuff,
But I did
and
too.
yeah.
And I'm surprised. That's why I keep to every single day. Every time
So
I do
yeah,
an episode, I'm like, how am I on here doing this? Like for me being so self-conscious, even still to the day,
right.
like
yep.
sitting here today, I'm like, I don't
Yep.
even have makeup on and I don't care. I'm here. Like that's
I
me
don't
being
care.
unapologetically me for myself. I'm here to share a story. Not,
Exactly.
I don't have to have a pretty makeup face while I do it, Maren. They don't care about that. Nobody cares about what your face looks like but yourself, you
You
know?
know
Exactly.
what? I have to tell myself that all the time. You know, what was funny is one of our podcasts with somebody who was actually very gifted, was very, very much on the psychic side.
Hmm.
It was really in the middle of our podcast. I'm sitting there and I hear this, look at you. Look at your face. Look at you. You're getting so fat. Blah, 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 blah. And it was like pulling me. And then I kind of was like, nobody cares what I look like. And then just went on. And he was like, ooh, you need to get that taken care of. And I was like, and I was like,
In the middle of
what?
recording, it was so
In the
awesome.
middle of the recording, dead in the middle of the recording, that happened. And I was like, wow. I was like, no, I need to let everybody know that right in the middle, like right before you said that, I was being pulled into a trance. I was told to look at
Hmm.
myself and was being pulled into a trance and negative, like the self negative talk.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, you need to get that taken care of. He goes, because I always sit like this. He goes, it's like right underneath your hand. And I was like, yeah, it's like doing this in my ear. And he's like, yep,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
yep,
My first couple of episodes, I would literally like hold my camera or my phone, whatever I was doing, so I had good angles or whatever. Now I'm just like,
yeah.
whatever. Maren, you're being so silly. If you're gonna, and my mom keeps saying the same thing. If you're gonna be unapologetically married, stop doing that shit. She was like,
Mhm.
just be you, and I'm like, I am. But sometimes being me means I want to put on makeup because I love makeup. But if I'm doing it for myself, that's one thing. But if I'm doing it because
Yeah,
I feel I
there's a
have
big
to feel
difference.
accepted, that's different.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
where I've
It's
changed is that I'm doing it now because I feel like it. So if I'm made up, it's because I was in a great mood and I felt myself and I got all made up. But if I wasn't, like today, had a headache, but I was excited, I was like, screw makeup. Who cares? Brush your hair. Just brush your hair
I
and go,
will,
go sit down in
I
front of the
will
phone.
have to
Just get
say,
in your studio. As long as your hair is brushed, you're good.
to go
So it's,
back on everything a little bit, Marion, I will say that you talking about your younger years, like about
mhm.
13, when everything went crazy for you, honestly, I completely understood that so well, but in a different time frame. It was
Yeah,
modern for me,
yeah.
and it was really insane how it was really synced up in the same way, especially seeking out men or
Mhm.
guys to feel loved,
Yeah,
and that's where my addiction was too.
yeah. I mean, I feel that. And like I said, I was going to write a book and hopefully eventually I do, but it's going to be letters to my 13-year-old self. I've already wrote some of it, but I always feel like my 13-year-old self is still here. And I feel like she is still scared and she is still unloved and she's like I say, she's trapped within my soul, within my mind, hiding. I say she's hiding from the monsters within myself. And
mhm.
I have to let her free. Because in order to
It's
be
funny.
45-year-old me, the 13-year-old me needs to find peace and be able to be released. And
Exactly.
so that's exactly what I feel I have to do. She has to be told, thank you for taking care of me all these years. Because she took care of me. I didn't take care of her. She took care of me.
Exactly.
And it's time to let her be free, let her go, and let me be 45-year-old Maren and be able to enjoy and love myself and live the rest of my life happy for her.
He deserves that.
She does.
Yeah,
And that,
that's what I tell myself a lot too, is she deserves that. I need to give that to her.
yes,
Like it, that's why it's like, nope, I show up. I gotta show up for me. I gotta
yes,
choose me. I'm in the season of not choosing anything but me and what I'm directed to. And I gotta do that
exactly,
too, you know.
exactly.
But that's part of doing
But
me.
yeah, I feel the same way. Wherever I'm
Yeah.
being called to, no matter what the story is. I mean,
Hmm.
even if, I mean, there's a couple of people that are coming on the show that, their stuff is not, it's in my wheelhouse, but it's stuff I don't know anything about. But I'm fascinated. I just want everyone to share their stories, whether
Yeah.
whether I know anything about, like, tomorrow, it's about shadow work. I don't know anything about that, but that's her
Oh,
thing.
well,
So
you'll love it. It's
I'm
about shadow
excited.
work and stuff like that. You'll love it.
I'm
I, I'm
excited
telling
for this.
I'm telling you, this podcasting thing um has literally turned into I dedicate it to my recovery as much as like when people ask, what do you do daily for your recovery? Looking through the glass.
Yeah,
Because if I didn't have it, I honestly don't think, because if I wasn't directed to do this,
yeah.
this was
Where
God
would you
telling me
be?
this is what you need to do in order to not be this, in order to change, you know?
Right.
And me being so scared of that, what other people would think about me, and was being so concerned about what my past was, I had to get past all of that and just go, okay, all right.
Mm.
And you're gonna love it. You're gonna love this podcasting, especially when you're with me, like having seizures and stuff. People are really understanding, and you're gonna learn a lot. Like
I know.
the things, and
I haven't even
yeah, you're
fully
gonna.
released yet, which I will next Saturday. That's when I'm
All
fishing Pete's
right.
out officially, and then I'm going to start dropping everybody else's that I've pre-recorded, and still have, of course, a lot more on the books. But I am diving into this, and I'm just going to let
Well,
this heal
I'll tell
me.
you what Pete said. Pete told us after your 10th episode, you've got this. And
Mhm.
he's pretty much right. After your 10th, you're just kind of like, I've got this. Like, no
I've
problem.
done 7. It's almost okay. So I've done 7. Plus, I was on Pete's, so that's 8. I'm on here now, so that's
This is
9.
9.
So tomorrow is Melissa, so that'll be 10, and that's the one I'm the
Oh,
scariest
you have
about.
Melissa tomorrow?
Yes, Melissa tomorrow.
Oh, oh, yes, yes, yes. You are going to love her.
I'm excited for her. I'm excited for her. I'm also
So
scared. She's the most I'm scared about because I'm like, because
she's so very, very open and very,
yeah,
very like, be ready. Like, cause,
yeah,
but at the same time, like, she's very healing
yeah.
to
I
me.
get that feeling. I get that feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's very healing and very empowering in her healing and in her journey, and her openness is just, it's, you know, knowing what she's gone through, like,
yeah,
is heartbreaking and heart wrenching, and knowing that she's experiencing that, and knowing her, it just like knowing anybody's experiencing that, but then knowing the type of person she is and who she
yeah.
is heart
Her,
wrenching. But like I posted on there to talk to her today, and I was like, but watching you take this and to use it to grow and to empower people and to just be so open, I was like, you have empowered me so much more to show up for myself,
yeah,
because I'm like, well, if she can show up crying, I can too, you
exactly,
know,
exactly.
you know,
We're doing
so
it together. Community, the tribe.
yeah, exactly. You're gonna love her. It's gonna be one of, I'm so glad it's like one of your right out of the box,
Uh huh.
episodes. It's gonna be really
Yep.
good. It's
She'll
gonna be really good.
be the second after I do yours. Then there'll be one more than hers. So y'all be
Yeah,
coming out
right
right
out.
back to back.
Yeah, she's very, very powerful person, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna
what
be
Pete
great.
said. That when after
Hmm.
Pete and I did our interview together, he's like, "Okay, I have 2 that you have to have." I was like, give me anybody you want. And it was you guys and her.
Uh,
Y'all
aw,
were
thanks,
literally,
Kate.
he sent me y'all's information and sent y'all mine after the podcast. He was like,
Yeah, I
you
was
need these
actually on
two.
he was on the live and he had it muted. I'm like, dude, you're muted. What are you doing?
He did that this morning. I was in his room this morning and I'm like just chatting. I'm like, yeah, guess what? I'm doing a show today. Da, da, da. And he's not answering me back. I'm like, what is he doing? And he messaged me. He's like, I'm doing a podcast on my live. And I was like, oh, my bad. I was
uh,
wondering what you were doing.
yeah. And
Whatever it
I'm
is
like, you
sounded
got your,
interesting.
I was just like, dude, your microphone's off, so you're looking like an idiot.
Right. I was like, if you're gonna like do your thing on live, just kind of like give a
Yeah, at least
preview, at
let
least
us
let us
hear.
hear stuff.
Maren, this has been a pleasure. We're gonna have to have you
Yes.
on so we can get the rest of your story since we kind
Yes.
of are
I gotta
ADD'd
get
our way
Giselle
through
booked,
things.
Missy. I
Yes,
gotta get
Yep.
you
Jill,
booked, man.
yes.
And then we got to get us booked. So,
Yes.
and then,
Well,
yeah, we'll do
well,
more. Let's,
yes, we are. This is not the
Yeah,
last of us.
we're still recording. We're still recording, by the way. I don't know if y'all forgot about that. Um, so I want to let our listeners know if anybody wants to reach out to us or talk to us or need us to speak out their story, you can reach us at 12 looking through THRU 34 the class at gmail.com. I can already hear Pete giving me shit. That's what makes me fuck up now. Is hearing him. So yeah, Pete, this episode is apparently dedicated to you.
Right?
thanks for being our
How's your
mentor and
mental
helping
health
us,
today?
man.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much, and come back for the next episode.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
There we go. Okay.